I already talked about the learning pyramid. That if we teach someone anything, we learn it by 90%, the highest rate, of course. And someone said that if you can teach it to a 5-year-old, you don't understand yourself. So I am I read introduction of the book The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, and I wrote down some of the important lines that I will teach you now. So let's get started. The imagination is literally the workshop wherein are all fashioned, all plans created by man. The imagination is literally the workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. Meaning our imagination is literally the workshop that we create our reality. Someone told me that it was a rejection game. The more rejections you collect, the more sales you likely to get. And Brian Tracy, when he was a newbie, he met his upper top people in his company, and he teach him. The top guy teach him that instead of using a speech or clever one-liners to get attention or to overcome resistance, the top guy he asked a series of logical questions from general to specific that were ideally suited to a genuine prospect. At the end of the series of questions, it had become perfectly clear to the prospect that he could use and benefit from our product. The final question was simply to closing the sale. And I wrote everything down, meaning he wrote everything down what he learned from the top guy. I began reading everything I could find on selling, spending the first 2 hours of every day studying and taking notes. It's Brian Tracy telling us. The simple idea that changed my life was the discovery of the law of cause and effect. What this law says is that there is a cause of every effect, that everything happens for a reason. Success is not an accident, failure is not an accident either. In fact, success is predictable, it leaves tracks. That's why you should not tell about your successes or about your plans or your problems to anyone, because it's predictable. They can stop you by being jealous or whatever. The simple idea that changed my life was the discovery of the law of cause and effect. What this law says is that there is a cause for every effect, and everything happens for a reason. Success is not an accident, failure is not an accident either. In fact, success is predictable, it leaves tracks. Here's a great rule: if you do what other successful people do, if you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing in the world can stop you from eventually getting the same results that they do. And if you don't, nothing can help you. Do you understand? Like, if you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing in the world can stop you from eventually getting the same results that they get. And if you don't, nothing can help you. Remember that everyone in the top 10% in sales today started in the bottom 10%. All who are how now, all who are now doing well were once doing poorly. Everyone at the front on the line of life started at the back of the line. And in every case, what these top people did was learn from experts. And in every case, what these top people did was to learn from experts. They discovered what other top people were doing to be successful, and they did the same things for themselves. They discovered what other top people were doing to be successful, and they did the same things for themselves again and again until they got the same results. And so can you. Sometimes I ask myself, audience, what is the most popular pieces of home exercise equipment in America? After a little hesitation, I tell them it's the treadmill. Americans spend more than $1 billion in treadmills every single year. Then I ask a second question. If you buy a treadmill and take it home, what will determine how much benefit you get from that treadmill? They answer, the benefit you get will depend on how often you use it and how long you use it each time. Here's my point. Our Brian Tracy is saying that here's my point. There is no question about whether or not the treadmill will give you the result you seek. That has already been established. Everyone knows that if you use a treadmill regularly and for an extended period of time, you will get definite health benefits. The strategies and techniques you will learn in this book are very much like a treadmill. They are used by all the highest paid salespeople in every industry worldwide. They are tested and proven. The more you use these methods, the better you will get at them, and the better and faster result you will achieve. By practicing what you've learned in the pages ahead, you will move into the top 10% of sales professionals in your field and become one of the highest paid people in the world. Is this a good deal for us to achieve together? If you feel it is, then let's get started. Whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill.